Right, hypnotherapy for children. 1-day workshop, quite long. 7 hours at least it will take us to cover this. Now, if this is a growing area, it's a growing niche market. More and more kids are needing help. The NHS list seems to be getting longer. Well, it does seem to be around here. More and more people are seeking hypnotherapy to help their children than trying to go through the NHS counselling route. Now, how do I define children? Anybody 16 or below. Now, we will cover all the legal bits about working with kids and all of those things, and I really do suggest you get an enhanced check and everything else. But the things that we'll be covering on this course is understanding kids, or really the understanding that kids have of the world and how different it is to an adult's understanding. Because a kid can, and I'll call him Little Jimmy, okay? Oh, it's got to be about 7 or 8 years ago. Little Jimmy came to see me. He was about 6, 7 years old. And he came in, it was a winter night, and he walked in and he just said to me, "Did you know that animals have got headlights in their eyes?" "Oh, have they? How do you work that out?" He says, "Well, we were coming in the car." Now, bearing in mind, he'd come quite some distance through the countryside, down little country roads, and I can only presume that he saw a cat, a dog and a fox, and maybe a rabbit, I don't know. Headlights hit their eyes, boom, reflections. Now, he assumed, and this was his explanation, because we can't see in the dark, we have to have headlights on the car or torches. But because the animals live outside in the dark and you could see their eyes shining, they've got torches or headlights in their eyes. Now let's imagine no one put him straight. No one actually told him that that was reflections off the retina. He could grow up believing animals have got torches in their eyes. Now, I gently tried to explain to him that it wasn't quite torches, but I actually then afterwards suggested to his mum that she goes and gets information and shows him about reflection from retinas, because that's what, you know, was lighting up the animal's eyes. And I have to say, the way she looked at me, it was obviously a revelation to her what was happening. Now, that's just the thing, how kids can get erroneous beliefs. I've had other kids say to me, or when they're adults rather, "Oh, well, I can't do relationships because I broke my mum and dad up. It was my fault my mum and dad broke up when I was a kid. Because I'd be upstairs in bed and I can hear them shouting, and then my name would get talked about. So I knew they was talking about me. It was my fault." And they weren't. They was talking about visiting or who's having him at the weekends and things like that. But that kid didn't know it. And in that person's mind, they became a homewrecker. They became someone that can't have relationships and hold on to them. And lo and behold, what's happening in the rest of their life with every one of their relationships? So we need to understand how kids perceive things totally different to adults, and how the parent can be perceiving the situation totally different to their child. So we need to look at the parental point of view throughout the whole of hypnotherapy. We need to look at safety issues and children's rights, etc. Because believe it or not, kids have a right, certainly as they get older, for you to not discuss what they're doing in therapy, especially if their parent is part of the problem. We look at the different ways that you can work with kids. Is there a best way? Well, there'll be a best way for that person and a best way for that one. There is no real set format, so to speak. Record keeping is really important with your kids, and I mean detailed records. We'll go through all that sort of stuff, and then we will work through the most common problems that kids have. Anxieties about the dark, or bedwetting, soiling the bed or their pants or things like that, nail biting, thumb sucking, pent up anger over apparently nothing, picky eating. We deal with all those sorts of things. You will come away with ideas but also some scripts. Now, I'm not a big believer in in scripts and using scripts, because I tend to use responsive hypnotherapy or the Flourish program, which doesn't use scripts. However, you will come away with scripts for the most common things, which you can change, twist and tweak to the way you want them to be. Book on the course, because I'm sure you'd like to be, the one person in your area that sees kids, and it is a growing and expanding niche. Get in at the ground level, get a qualification, and get out there and earn some extra cash.